Okay, I'm going to be explaining my Python code. Here we go, VS Code. The uh, first exercise was to create a function library for the financial calculations for present value, future value, net present value, and internal rate of return. So here's that first one, that first code. Um, so here we go. This is the calculation for present value, as you can see. Future value, rate, and periods. Number of periods. Uh, so here's the calculation, and the formula is right here. For future value, you have your inputs right here, and then of um, your parameters right here for it, and your formula right here. For net present value, um, it's your rate and cash flow. Here are the parameters for it. Um, and then here's the formula to it'll run to get it. And then here's internal rate of return for cash flows. As you can see, the parameters of the code are right here, and here's the formula. The example usage. So I didn't want to do inputs, so I'm doing it to where it runs a couple example numbers through the code. As you can see, so I'll run the code here. Um, and so it comes out, future values 16, 28, present values 1,567, and net present values 388 using these example numbers. So for exercise 2, we were asked to write a function that calculates stock metrics like daily returns, volatility, and the Sharpe ratio. So here's the code for that. Uh, so I used Yahoo Finance uh, using real stocks. So here is stocking or fetching the stock data and then printing it out with tickers, start date, and end date. So it'll ask you, um, I believe it'll ask you your start and end period when you run the code. So here it is for the stock ratio to calculate the Sharpe ratio. Here's for volatility, the formula for volatility you can see. Um, and then the stock metric summary, that's what it'll print to display after you run your parameters. And then, so yeah, and so we're looking at NVIDIA, Amazon, JP Morgan, and Netflix, tickers, start date. Oh yeah, I ended up putting a start date and end date in there already. So we're just gonna look over the past year, pretty much, or actually no, the past month, or what's that year? The past year. Yeah. So here we'll run the code really quick. Here's fetching the data from Yahoo Finance. So here's all your information pulled from real data currently. Okay, for the next exercise, we were asked to create a bond pricing function that takes the face value, coupon rate, years to maturity, and market rate, and returns the current bond price. So here's that code. So calculating the price of the bond, uh, the face value, coupon rate. So here's the formulas for all of all the bond formulas, and then here's the example I put into the code. And so I'll run the code. I think. Oh, yeah. So the bond price is $1,081.11. Exercise 4. We're asked to write a portfolio analysis function that takes a list of stock prices and weights, calculates a portfolio return and risk, and returns a summary dictionary. So here, importing data from NumPy, YFinance, and Pandas. And so first we are fetching the stock data, and then printing all of this information. We then start going to the portfolio analysis, start looking at weights and daily returns from the stock data we just pulled. And then the next function is we're going to look for the expected portfolio returns. So we're taking these metrics that will give us that number, which is the annualized return. The portfolio risk is standard deviation, and we're looking at the metrics right here in order to calculate risk of the portfolio. And here are just some printed information, just like successfully retrieved data for whatever ticker and expected annual return. This is what it's going to print right here. So the defined parameters or tickers are right here that we're looking at. So we're looking at Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Tesla. The weights, I just weighted them equally. I can change it if I want to, but I prefer to do that just to make it look cleaner. And then when you run the analysis, it will do this. So we'll look at it and it'll give us all of these stock prices right here, and will give us the annual expected return is 29%, which is pretty good. And the annual risk of this portfolio is 25% with standard deviation, which seems pretty high to me. So for exercise 5, we're told to create a loan amortization function that generates a payment schedule. So I'll look at this code really quick. So we're importing data from NumPy and Pandas here. So the loan amortization, so this is what is generating the loan amortization schedule. So payments per year, annual rate, principal years. These are the formulas we're going to look at to kind of get the numbers that we're going to be putting into this function right here. So this function is calculating the monthly payments that we're going to be using in the loan schedule. And then right here is just in case there's no interest added, but there should always be interest added. And then so the schedule, and then so this is also just kind of having to do with the schedule. And then here is just the kind of the schedule as well. And then for the examples, we're just going to use $10,000. The annual rate is 5%, and the year is 30 years. So that is what we're going to run. So here we go. Here's the loan amortization schedule, number of periods, and the payments. And you can see as principal goes up, interest goes down, and you will eventually pay off the loan. So for exercise 6, we were told to write a function that calculates various risk metrics like beta, standard deviation, etc. So imported all of these data sources that I've been using, that I've been pulling data from. So we're fetching stock data here, and then So we're gonna print, all these stickers, market index, start date, yada yada. Uh, Coming back down, this is what we're looking for the risk metrics. So this is we're calculating beta standard deviation and or risk and Sharpe ratio. So looking through this code, the daily returns, stock returns. So this is kind of the numbers that we're going to be using right here. Standard deviation, volatility. This is the formula for standard deviation. This is the formula for beta. And this is how we're going to calculate the Sharpe ratio. Here's the stuff to print to make it more understandable when we run the code. And then the parameters we're using, we're just going to look at Apple, and we're just going to analyze one stock. We're going to use the S&P 500 market as the benchmark. So the start date, we're just going to do a year from today, or a year, a month, and 11 days from today. And uh, sorry, and then we're going to run, so I'll run this code for you really quick. So calculated all this from Apple. So we got the beta is 0.9345, standard deviation is 23, or the risk is 23, and Sharpe ratio is 0.85. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.